Welcome back to the Berg Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. With me today is Ford.
Hey, how's it going?
And today we're actually talking a little bit about personal finances, personal budgeting. Ford and I were sitting here chatting, and we thought, this is actually not a bad podcast topic. Let's just turn the recorder on, right? And start talking. So the conversation started between Ford and I, between you and I here, because we were talking a little bit about the employee holiday, right? The employee luncheon. Yeah, thanks. And one of the things that we rolled out at the luncheon was a product that we're purchasing, sponsoring for our employees to help with their personal finances, with a budgeting tool, so to speak. Well, we've talked about this a little bit in the past. We approach like the new hire process a little bit differently, I think, than some others. And a lot of times, some of that conversation that we have with the new hire is not trying to get into the nitty gritty of their personal life, but to help them walk through what it is that they need to be comfortable with in regards to time expectations, money expectations, etc., when they come to work for Berg Construction. And a big part of that started with a conversation that I know, you and I and Dan had, 8 or so years ago, regarding like if an employee's got like personal issues that they've got to worry about, and a lot of times it's financial, and they're bringing that to work with them because they can't get it out of their mind and out of their head, then they're not going to be the employee we need them to be here. They won't be present. They'll be trying to figure out something else out, right? So on, 2 weeks ago now, or whenever our luncheon was, we rolled out, we're sponsoring a tool called Smart Dollar. So Smart Dollar is a Dave Ramsey or Ramsey Group
Solutions, or whatever you want to call itself now.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's a Dave Ramsey product. And the reason that we chose that one is just some personal success, right? Some personal experience with Dave Ramsey product. Not this one specifically, but
yeah, I mean, I'll take the first lead on that. And, I've used this product for a couple of years. I'll have to shout out to my brother Luke, who got me involved with it. I listen to his podcast, all that kind of stuff. And it's very simple. It's not challenging.
Yeah.
It's not super complex. It's pretty straightforward. He jokes about common sense, and so that's what I feel what it is. But there's just some steps in there that helps you get to a place where, construction as general has some seasonality to it. It has some weather issues to it. And, 1 week you might get a huge paycheck. Next week, the paycheck might be a little less just because you had some rain days or something like that. And something like this would help smooth out some of those issues and not make it that you're sweating your mortgage payment, your rent payment,
right,
your car payment, all that kind of stuff. It at least allows you the opportunity, if you would like to participate, to make it a little bit easier on you, that you can tolerate life's surprises with a little less concern.
Right. Yeah. So, so Allie and I, my wife and I, we started using, I think, is it called Every Dollar?
That's the app. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, our church every year for a number of years, like would do the class, right? And for whatever reason, we always had some reason we couldn't do it. We didn't make it. It was an inconvenient time, whatever. And it's one of those.
You're a bank manager. You know this stuff. You don't need to have an app.
Well, that's it, right? So the funny thing is, like, we always sort of took that approach, like, well, we know how to handle our money, right? When we're pretty responsible. We lived mostly within our means, and you do like little things that you don't necessarily think about, right? Sometimes there's incidental or unplanned expenses, and we put them on a credit card, right? Or we're doing a little home improvement project, and so we go and take out a loan. Like, we just don't really realize that, like, we thought we were managing our money and managing our debt, and not thinking about like sort of the way you get sort of chained to those things by having to make monthly payments, even if you're doing things that you technically can afford, that the bank would give you authority and permission to do. Like they got a formula, right? I worked in banking. They're going to say, hey, yeah, we looked at your paychecks and you're approved. You can pay us back. Like you can afford to give us your paycheck.
Worst case, we'll take whatever you bought if you don't. So we're covered both
Yeah,
ways.
and we're gonna attach on both sides. We got your paycheck in one hand and your house or whatever it is that you wanted to pledge in the other hand. And so we started using EveryDollar a couple of years ago, and it's like it's oddly simple, right? Would you agree?
I mean, it's so basic and so straightforward. And the thing is that with it, even if you don't want to follow the methods, it brings everything in front of your face every day, every month, every week, whatever you want to update it. And so you have to see it. Like they talk about friction and why you use debit cards or credit cards because like you just swipe it and out the door you go. But when you have to see those transactions and what it does is the system, it lets you put the transaction into a budget category that you created. But you see them, I realize how much money I spend at Wawa because every time I use my debit card there, it says, hey, you spend $10 at Wawa,
Right.
and it's just like another reminder because during the day-to-day thing, you don't notice it, but all of a sudden at the end of the month, you're like, oh, I spent $150 or something like that at Wawa over the month. It's a reminder, and then you can see how you want to change things, or maybe it's just making you aware of where your money goes because it's amazing too. You're like, okay, I see what the checks are coming in for my payroll and I see what we're spending money on. Where did it all go?
Right.
Like, you're always like, end of the month, where did it all go? And so this is just a cool way to be able to see what you're actually spending your money on. Because sometimes things, the smiley face that my daughter calls Amma that stops at our house to drop things off. Like they're really good at making you not even realize where you're spending your money because they don't even bill you per item. They just bill you as things get shipped out or whatever it is. And like, it's just, the businesses have done such a wonderful job for themselves and making it so smooth and so painless that things just slide out without you noticing, even small things. But, and this is just a great way to be like, hey, that's where it went. And maybe you want to make changes, maybe you don't, but maybe you just want to know where it goes if you ever get to the end of the month and you're like, wait, where did that cash go?
Yeah. So, so that's exactly right. We thought it would be sort of like an exercise in like, just proving we were doing it right, so to speak. Right. We thought, yeah, we should do this. And actually what I would say is, when I started doing it, because my background is finance and banking, I was kind of like, we're going to do this so Allie understands, right? We're going to we'll go through the class and we'll do the video so that she feels comfortable. So I'm good. I know we're fine here. But it was actually really good for us to do as a couple because we had never had some of those types of conversations about planning. First of all, money management, how we create spending habits and saving habits, and because of my experience, I think I had kind of always just said, well, I'll manage that, I'll take care of that because I know what we're doing, right? And so it was very healthy for our relationship to kind of walk through that, sort of creating budgets together, deciding what our savings goals are, and planning for purchases was another one. Like we never really, prior to using this, I don't know, 5 or so years ago, whenever we started using it, in this way, we never really planned for purchases to say, all right, we know we're going to have to do these things. Like, Dave's got a funny one where he says like, Christmas shows up every year.
Shockingly, I think it's on the 25th of December, right?
Yeah. He shows up every year. In all likelihood that you're going to spend some money. You're going to buy some people some things, some loved ones, some family members, some friends, whatever it might be. Did you put that money somewhere? Like, did you plan for that purchase? If you didn't plan for that purchase, is it just discretionary cash you have, or are you going to have to put it on a credit card, or what happens next? So,
I think it's, helped my relationship with my wife. I think it's also, without sounding hokey, but we've had these conversations about we call them dream meetings or whatever, just because we don't have a better name for it, but just talking about what we want the future to look like, because part of this is planning for that and making sure that you put the appropriate dollars maybe in your kid's 529, put your appropriate dollars into your 401k, because you're having other goals than just what's tomorrow.
Right.
And no, I remember when we first moved into our new house 7 years ago, air conditioner went out the first summer, and I had to go get a loan to replace an air conditioner because it was a sudden thing, didn't have anything put there in place. And we had some kind of system in the house go out last year, and we had put a couple dollars aside, and we were able to pay for it. It was still painful, but it wasn't an emergency, and it wasn't freaking out and running to a bank and some of those things, because we were able to put a couple dollars aside to handle those surprises that happen, unless you're renting, but maybe your car goes, whatever it is, there's always something that you're unexpected. And so if you can kind of plan for the unexpected, it does make it a little bit smoother when those unfortunate situations do happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So, yeah. So internally we last year, because of sort of this knowing about this tool, right? There's a lot of tools out there for budgeting, for finance, for planning. This is just one that we happen to be familiar with, internally. And so because of that, last year we gave everyone a book, Smart Money Makeover, I think, is that the name of it, or Smart?
I honestly don't know. It's actually sitting out here, but
it's
actually his theory behind this whole process. And why we did this also is because we've seen success with it. We know it. It's not just something off the shelf. And, the reality is that, team, employee member, whatever you want to call somebody, 401k, these are all what they call benefits, which are just kind of like a negotiating tool, say, for someone coming in, like, oh, we offer these things. But, really caring for your team members, you want them to do these things not because it benefits us in any way, except for that we hope it benefits them long term.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to want to be out in the field all the time. So maybe they want to have a retirement plan. We don't want to have someone calling us saying they can't afford to get to work because they don't have fuel money. We want people to be able to manage that stuff. And so they're the best person every day for their family, also for their team members, so that they're, as you said earlier, concentrating on what's a task at hand, and they don't have to be thinking about other things.
Right.
Stuff happens, and there's no getting around that. And, we're not expecting everything to be rainbows and unicorns, as my wife says. But, you can plan for some of these things. We hope that, maybe this is a tool that you choose to use. We don't know anything about what you're using it for, but it's offered to you, so you can take advantage of it if you choose to or not. But we just want to try and provide a more complete solution for some of the things that we can offer to as part of the team.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that our primary goal is to remove the barrier to entry, right? So the reason we as internally decided we were going to pay for this for everybody who wants to use it was so that they don't have to think like, do I want to go like spend some money on a resource that I may or may not use? I don't even know if I need it. I don't even know how this works. So by kind of removing that barrier to entry, by paying for that subscription for all of our team members to use, I think our primary hope is that they try it. They just take a look at it. Maybe they watch a couple of the videos. Maybe they try the budgeting tool. And like I said, I think that at the very least, it just sort of makes you think through some things, whether or not you become a habitual user and whether or not you have a lot, success with it. I think it just at the very least makes people sort of have those conversations, create healthy relationships with discussions around money and personal finances. And, we're just hoping that this could also be an experience that some of our folks have. So,
yeah. And with the budgeting tool in particular, just, in transparency, month 1 is going to be a disaster. Month 2 will get a little better. By month 3, if you're actually trying to use it, you'll start getting traction. So if you try it 1 month and it's a disaster, don't be surprised. It takes a little process. You got to get used to it. You got to be used to those conversations. You got to, it's a
Yeah.
process that takes time to get better at.
Right.
And, I can't say I follow 100% of what, his plan is.
Right.
I try to on certain factors. But, the ones I do find useful, I find very useful.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, give it a shot. Doesn't work, no skin off your back, as they say, as far as
Right.
you tried it. It's a tool that we offer. Hope you do take us up on it and try it for a while. And doesn't work out, hey, you tried it, and you can move on to something else or whatever.
Well,
However you choose to live, that's up to you. But we want at least the resources here for you to be able to use something if you want it.
we found some success in this, and we want to make that resource available to you guys. So
if you have any questions about it, I know there's some other team members that have also used this plan in the past. I'm sure they'd be glad to talk to you about it.
Right.
We'd be both glad to talk if anybody has some questions about it. Anything like that, we're glad to talk to you if you want to send us an email or something like that. We'll tell you more about it.
Yeah, and we don't. And the nice thing is, I think, the other thing that people should be aware of is, like, it's totally private. Like we
don't know your situation.
No, we don't get any information. We're not plugged into your finances. We're not seeing what's happening on the inside of it. Like literally, the only thing we know is how many people signed up to use it. Like we'll see. Like, did one person sign up? Did 70 people sign up?
And mainly that's a mechanism for them to bill us for it.
And that's just so they can charge us. Yeah, exactly. That's how they bill us. So yeah. So cool. Yeah, absolutely. If you guys have questions, comments, you want to talk more about that, feel free to reach out to me personally, Ford. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer those questions too. But hopefully you find it valuable, or at least it generates some healthy conversations in your life as well. So thanks for joining us, folks. We hope you have a good one, and we'll catch you again soon.